So apparently February is almost over and I have to wrap it up. It still kind of baffles me that we're already 2 months in 2015. I can't. According to Goodreads, I read a total of 7 books this month. 2 of them were short stories, one of them with 29 pages. I, as a reader, do not really consider that a book. Another book I didn't exactly finish. Let's just say I read about 5, which I'm actually proud of because, again, I have school and February is test month and I have a lot to study for. So managing to get reading done, especially 5 books, to me is actually kind of a feat. So the first read that I finished this month was an Italian book translated into Portuguese, and that is Qualquer Coisa de Bom by Sveva Casati Madignani. Let's hope I pronounced that right. This book was okay. It took me more than a week to get through because I wasn't exactly motivated to read it. This book starts when a very rich woman unexpectedly dies, and instead of leaving her things to her son and her husband, she leaves everything to the building's doorwoman. I guess you could translate it to everyone is completely baffled as to why. And this book actually takes us on a pretty large and time-spanning journey. It makes us fall in love with the doorwoman. It makes us fall in love with the woman that passed away. We get to see the stories of these women's ancestors and how they're not exactly complete strangers to each other. Again, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It wasn't something completely mind-blowing. It was the light read that I was needing after so many feel-inducing books. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. The second book that I read this month was The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe by C.S. Lewis, book number 1 or 2, however way you want to put it, of the Chronicles of Narnia. This was the book mentioned earlier that I did not get to finish. I'm actually kind of ashamed of this because I love Narnia, but The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is actually my least favorite book out of all of them because it's the one I'm most familiar with. I already know the story and the characters. So I got about 70% through and I just kind of put it down. I just kind of gave it back to the library because I wasn't feeling it. And for books like Narnia, you have to be feeling it to actually grasp the story and the concept. The Chronicles of Narnia, again, are some of the best things out there, and although I didn't finish it, you definitely should. Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe got 4 out of 5 stars for me because, again, it's my least favorite of the books, and even though I know this is how the whole Narnia thing started, I like it, but there are other Narnia books that I like so much more. The third book that I finished this month was Ferris by Marissa Meyer, and I am still kind of in a daze about this book. In case you don't know, this is the prequel to the Lunar Chronicles, and it tells the story of Lavanna, which is the series villain, and this was also one of my most anticipated books of all time. It did not disappoint in any way, shape, or form. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it so much. It completely ripped my heart out. It left me completely dead with feelings. Because this book is just, I don't really have words. I'm still trying to work on a clear, coherent book chat for this one. I am unable of actually commenting or opinionating or saying anything about this book. Makes me stutter and fangirl and shriek and just So again, I absolutely love this book. I recommend the Lunar Chronicles to absolutely everyone. Yeah, again, I'm still kind of getting my mind wrapped around what actually happened and how cruel of a creature Lavanna actually is. It's just, I can't. The fourth thing that I finished this month was Carswell's Guide to Being Lucky, and this is that 29-page short story that I mentioned earlier, and I was just really hungry for more lunar things, and I knew about the existence of this short story a little while ago, but I wanted to save it for a time where I actually really wanted to jump back into this world, and after reading Ferris, I just completely caved. This is a very short background story on one of my favorite characters in the series, and that is Thorne Carswell. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars simply because it's 29 pages and you can't really do much with that, but still Marissa Meyer just blew me away at what exactly she could do in such a reduced amount of pages, you know? If you've read the series, you know there was this character called Kate Fallow, and this is what redeemed Thorne in the eyes of Cress. This is kind of what exactly happened between Thorne and Kate Fallow. I just really enjoyed it. It was very witty, and Thorne has always been this kind of dumpy and kind of deceitful character, and yeah, really enjoyed it. Meanwhile, I finished reading Fear by Lisa McMahon. I had been reading this, but I put it down, and then I read it, and then I put it down. Again, a book that I wasn't really motivated to read, but that was at the beginning. I have to say I enjoyed this way more than the first one, because the first one is really a lot of world building. We're introduced to this character's ability, which is jumping into people's dreams. But in this one, there's just so much more character growth. To me as a reader, this plot was just so much more interesting than the one in the first book. I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars, even though I kept putting it down. I did enjoy this book. I feel like for me, it deserved 4 out of 5 stars. This isn't called Fear, this is called Fade. Because of some weird reason, they decided to translate this to fear, and this is kind of like in the imperative mode where it's telling someone to fear you or something. I'm sorry I messed up the title. Translations. The other thing I finished this month was The Little Android by Marissa Meyer, and this is another thing that really gave me all the feels, and by the end I was actually tearing up. And just so you know, this has 109 pages. Anything by Marissa Meyer makes me feel everything humanly possible, and I just praise that woman. The Little Android is Marissa Meyer's retelling of The Little Mermaid, in which we have an android that falls in love with a human, saving him from a terrible accident. This was completely faithful to the original Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale, down to the ending, and the ending is just so depressing. It's just, you're reading and you're completely astonished. You've just grown so attached to this character, who, by the way, again, is an android. You really feel for her, and really connect to the situation, and once it's done, just completely shocked. I don't have another word. I was completely astonished at this short story. Needless to say, I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, because who knew someone could make me feel so many things in 110 pages. And the last book that I finished this month was Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. Now, I was super excited for this. I read it and I loved it. I didn't think it was something, oh my god, life-changing, but I really enjoyed it. I read it in 2 days, which I didn't think was even possible, because this is one of those tall, small font paperbacks, and the story just really captivated me. The characters and the powers going on in this, I just liked it so much. Again, it wasn't something that completely blew me away. The ending, however, whoa, what a plot twist. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars simply because it wasn't something that I loved so much. I have to say that I do expect a little more from the second one. Now that we're done with the world building and the character introduction, we can kind of just develop a little bit more, and I am kind of expecting something better and more exciting for the second installment. I really like the main character in the book, and the powers. Again, the powers were just, whoa. I really liked this aspect of the red blood and the silver blood. It was very original, and I was completely grasped by the story the second my eyes finished reading the summary, and it wasn't a disappointment. I loved it. It was good. Yup. So those were my reads for the month of February. Again, I am quite proud of what I did. Every single book that I read this month were books that I enjoyed, so yeah. I'm not going to talk about what I'm currently reading simply because it takes a long time and this video is way too long already. So I'm just going to go ahead and say, stay tuned for my next videos, and remember to keep your day a bookish one. Goodbye! The language is very short story. Again, I gave I can't say this title. The Little Android. Talking about Ferris is a very hard thing to do, in my personal case at least. Fear by Lisa.